Hey, everybody. My name is Steve Gibbs, joined with Jim Perry this morning. How you doing this morning, Jim?
I am doing very well. How are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. So I'll give you a little bit of background as to why we're here today and what this is all about. This past week, I had the opportunity to connect with Jim, who I've known for going on 8 years now, and interview him. I'm a principal here in Cambridge, Isanti, Minnesota, and had the opportunity to do Instagram lives every morning during what Minnesota is calling distance learning. And Jim's been doing his Reach Reflections, talking to his students there in Stewartville. Jim, you want to give a little bit of information about your Reach Reflections?
Right. So, as a part of distance learning, I needed a way to connect with my students and their families. And there was no better way than me to continue to talk about character traits such as gratitude, compassion, acceptance, meaning, forgiveness, and many, many more. So I've been going out every day and recording Reach Reflections videos as a way to connect with kids and to get them to still think about being a very good human being during distance learning.
And I've tried to mirror something similar to that. I've learned a lot from Jim. We'll continue to learn a lot from Jim. So every morning that our students have distance learning at Cambridge Isanti High School, where I serve as principal, I try to get on and give them some notes of encouragement, whether that's just some information that I've learned from Jim, but I try to make it in the social, emotional, physical, and academic world, trying to focus on the whole person. But just want to give you a little bit of introduction as to who the heck we are and why we would want to have a podcast or a video cast here. Jim, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and why would you be here and sharing with us about what we're going to talk about today or in the future?
Yep. So again, for those that don't know, my name is Jim Perry, and I lead the Reach Stewartville program. REACH stands for Relationships, Education, Accountability, Character, and Hard Work. And I grew up here in town. I grew up in Stewartville. I'm raising my family here. My wife and I have lived here for quite some time. And it's been my intent all along to be able to give back to a community that gave so much to me. I grew up in a home where there was a lot of trauma. And the connections that I was able to make gave me hope and helped me move through that trauma to become the best person that I possibly could be. So we had an intervention when Steve worked with Stewartville and he was our administrator. We had an intervention at the middle school that we knew we could move forward to being more of a life intervention. So we started REACH, and we knew that we could connect with kids because academic struggles aren't always academic struggles. In many cases, they are caused by outside factors, and there could be a wide variety of issues going on. And we knew we could do better with the way that we connected with those kids. So I got in contact with one of the other REACH programs in the state, and REACH Stewartville was born from that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I know that as we've worked together over the years, and Jim said that I was an administrator down in Stewartville, and I learned a lot in those times. I worked with Jim for 6 years as a principal down in Stewartville, and we did begin a program down there that Jim took the reins on. Jim always tells a story pretty funny that I called it. Tell the story of how we created that intervention program, Jim.
So the very last day of school, one school year, I get called down to the office. And I'm like, oh, shoot, last day of school, I'm in trouble. What did I do now? So I go in, stand in Gibbs's door. He's like, get in here, sit down, shut the door. You know why you're here, don't you? And I did. I did. And I said, I really hope that this is why I'm here. And I know that we can do better. I know we can make this bigger and better. And I've been grateful all along for Steve, for you allowing me to take the reins, knowing that it had to be personal. A program that connects with kids has to be personal. The person who says this isn't personal is probably in the wrong business if they're in education. And it's become very, very personal. It's a passion. I love working with kids. I love working with kids who are struggling in any area of their life to help them move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jim, why don't you give us you began giving us a quick biography. Jim, I think it's important that listeners know that these aren't just things that we learn over time, even though there's a big component of that. But what's some of your background? What's some of your training? What's some of your education that you've gone through to learn and to be able to provide information, research-backed information, especially in the area of social, emotional,
Yep.
academic, and physical growth.
Yep. Yep. So Reach did start out very much like an experiment. We knew what we wanted to do. We had our why, and we were learning our what, and we were getting the training on that. So I immediately reached out to, for those of you who've seen the movie Paper Tigers, Jim Sporleader. I had done a huge amount of research in the first few months of Reach and learned about ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences, and I'd never heard that term before. For the first time when I watched that movie, I saw someone else who's trying to do exactly the same thing that I was trying to do with Reach. So I reached out to Jim, and he started sending me information. I went to a conference in Washington, got a chance to meet him, call him a very good friend of mine now. It would be great to have him on the podcast here, by the way.
That'd be awesome.
And started doing all of this research and finding out that there are teachers all over the country trying to do the same thing. So soon after that, kind of by dumb luck, was put into contact with Dr. Sood from the Mayo Clinic. And the Resilient Option Program is designed to help adults live happier, healthier lives through studying gratitude, compassion, acceptance, meaning, forgiveness, and the power of positive relationships. And I knew if I melded those two together, that we could make those connections. And instead of focusing on the negatives and the struggles, we could focus on the positive things that make us good human beings, knowing that if we helped our students become good human beings, the academic side would come along with that.
To have the opportunity, the privilege to train under Jim Sporleader and Dr. Sood gives you a vast amount of information that you can then turn around and serve others with. And I know that you have done that. You've spoken across the nation, most heavily in the state of Minnesota, and kind of an expert. I would consider you an expert. I think many would consider you an expert, specifically in the area of adverse childhood experiences, which address each of those four components that this podcast and this video cast is going to address, and that's the areas of the whole child, the whole student, the whole person, the academic, the social, the emotional, and the physical. Because if we only, I think sometimes in schools we only look at one quarter of that. Unless you're in FIAD, then we get the physical side in there. But we really truly have to address the entire student and the entire person to allow them to become the best they are capable of becoming. And that's something that that's going to be an area of focus for this podcast, is how do we serve the whole student? How do we break the tradition of what schools look to like and the purpose of schools, to make sure that we're getting a letter grade that we can be proud of, whether it's or a test score that identifies whether we're good or not. And so we have to break that, look at the whole student, and say, how can we serve the entire student? Because the reality is, I don't know about you, Jim, but I have no one has ever asked me my ACT score since I submitted my college transcript, or since I submitted my high school transcript for admittance to college. Not one person has asked me what that is. No one has asked me what my GPA in high school was. No one's asked me what my GPA in college was. But all the lessons I learned as a result of working hard in those different experiences has made me into the person that I am today. And I think that's what we have to get back to the root of, is what is the purpose of education? And the purpose of education is not academic alone.
Right. Yeah. Academics are important. I mean, that's never going to go away. But we're in the business of connecting with kids and helping to guide them to be happy, healthy, productive adults. When we're looking at our students now, I'm not seeing a test 2 days from now. Now, we might be planning for that, but I'm really looking much, much, much farther forward than that. I'm looking 10 years in their future. Some of them are going to be parents. Some of them are going to still be in our communities. And are they happy, healthy, well-rounded adults that are able to pass that forward on to the next generation as well?
That's right. That's right. Well, as we move forward in this podcast, we've kind of given a little snapshot of a little glimpse of the things that we're passionate about. We're passionate about educating the whole student. We're passionate about relationships, connecting to students, and allowing them the opportunity to feel like they are more than a number. I've said often that kids don't come to school as academic vessels. They come to school really as as a life vessel, and they're going to become a person. I think, Jim, you said they're going to become parents. They're going to become employers. They're going to become employees. They're going to become citizens in our community. And what we do to instill values into our young people is so important. And so, Jim, why don't you take? I'm gonna hand the reins, kind of the hosting piece, over to you, and we're going to talk about names at this point in time.
Yes. So we are looking for a podcast name, something that applies to us, but encourages as many of you to be watching and listening as well. There are a few different ideas. I am going to say what my favorite is right now. My favorite of the list that we have come up right now is the human lighthouse experience, with a lighthouse being a beacon and a symbol of strength in a time of struggle, in a storm, where people can look to that. And I think both of us know that we're willing to take that on for our students and others to look toward us for that strength. All different variations of the human lighthouse experience. We talked about Blue Tiger for a bit. PG came up. I'm sorry, my daughter said she felt like that might exclude some kids. So we are looking for a podcast name. If you have any ideas, wherever you're seeing this video, Facebook, YouTube, we'll include an email or another way to contact us. Let us know if you have any ideas. We're also looking for topic ideas. If there's something you want to hear, please let us know. It could be about gratitude, compassion, acceptance, meaning, forgiveness. The Reach Reflections videos that I'm doing now have to do with all different kinds of things, from loss that our seniors are feeling this spring because of school and graduation being taken away, but still being able to feel gratitude at the same time. So talking about the idea of loss and gratitude going together can absolutely happen. If you have any other ideas, we will be willing to explore anything that you'd like to have us explore.
And I think it's also important for people to know that we don't claim to be experts in any of this. We claim to be
Absolutely.
passionate educators who want to learn and grow and serve.
Yep. And if we talk about
we're not
something,
giving.
if we talk about something being an experience, that means we're not perfect. No one is.
Yeah.
A very wise man once told me, we are imperfect people working with imperfect people in an imperfect world. And that's the reality.
That's right. That's right. So we're about learning, we're about growing, we're about serving with one another and for others. And that's what this is all about. And so like Jim had said, we're looking for names. We're looking for topics, especially in the area of academic, social, emotional, and physical.
Absolutely.
Educating the whole person. And we're also looking for guests who want to join and share their experiences, whether it's through training, whether it's just through personal opportunities. Because Jim, as an educator, me as an educator, Jim's been serving in intervention programs for a long time now. This is my 8th year as a principal, so I've had a variety of experiences with a variety of people. So we just want to share with our community what we've learned, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and what we believe to be the important factors that allow a student to grow into the best person they are capable of becoming.
I think it's important to stay as well that it is important to grow together. And
right.
You can't do that on your own. And to have a community coming together to do that, just like a school, to use this tool is one way to do that, to help individuals grow together.
Yeah, now more than ever. It's funny that
Absolutely.
that we can't physically get together right now because of certain regulations that we've been placed upon, because we're living through the season of COVID-19.
Yep.
But now is the perfect opportunity to come together and to share, to learn, to serve, to give, because we need it more than ever. And we need resources, and we need people to share their story.
Yep.
So yeah, we're looking forward to this.
I keep saying to my students, now's the time for all of us to step up and be the best versions of ourselves possible. Seize this opportunity. Do not let it pass you by. And I think for both you and me, this is one way that we can do that as well.
That's right. So again, from Jim Perry and Steve Gibbs, we're looking forward to learning and serving and giving you something that is of value. And we look forward to our next episode coming up in the very near future. Any last words, Jim?
Wish you well. Talk to you soon.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Have a good one.